Hey there, honey bunnies. Welcome to episode 78 of your Sovereign Storytellers podcast with your host, Michelle Wolf. Today, I wanted to talk to you about this opportunity for expansion in our capacity to hold energies. I posted about it on Facebook this morning. Today is Saturday, hold please, March 21st. March 21st, is that correct? It seems strange already, doesn't it? So March is flying by us. So if you're here, you probably identify as someone who feels energy, is aware of it. You might define yourself as an empath or someone who's just sensitive to energy flows. And a lot of what I teach is about helping people get in their body so that they can handle the sensations of those energy flows and emotional surges in the collective when things are happening. And as we all know, big things are happening with the pandemic, the coronavirus, our political systems, all the things. I don't need to list them. I know that you've heard them ad nauseum. But what I wanted to talk about is we as healer types, teachers, sensitives, those on that kind of path have been used to dealing with, this morning when I posted, I was seeing it as a garden hose. I actually told my coach that yesterday, that it feels like going from a garden hose to a fire hose overnight. And several of us have had cravings for loads of food. And that I used to do that, but I haven't done that in a really long time. And all week I just couldn't, I felt like I couldn't get enough to eat. Now, I did not use that as an excuse to overeat. I would have. In the past, I would have been like, hey man, the world's going to shit. Might as well just eat whatever. But I didn't because I was aware it was something else. So I was using all my skills, sleeping, meditating, being outside, writing, creating, trying to focus on work. My work hasn't changed, I work from home and I coach people and I do human design and I do things like that. None of that has changed for me, but I was acting like I had, energetically, I was like, oh, everything is different. And I had to keep catching myself and was like, no, it's not for you. Like, your daily life is still the same. I actively socially isolate. I have forever. This is nothing new. So, but it was weird, right? I had dreams. I couldn't sleep. Everything was jacked up, just like for the rest of us. And I was caught between this frustration of people telling other people who were scared basically to shut up. Was frustrating me. And then I was also frustrated by the toxic positivity people who were like, it's fine, everything's fine, this is the grand reawakening, this is the blah-de-blah. And you're like, yeah, cool, yes, and we need to validate and acknowledge our very human, very valid survival concern first. From our human perspective, we don't like to lose our loved ones. We don't like to be trapped indoors. We don't like feeling uncertain and at the mercy of something we can't even see, governed by an administration that can't get their head out of their ass, so to speak. We don't like that. And I don't like seeing people shamed for being afraid. I don't like seeing people needled and made more afraid. It was just such a thing, such a tumultuous week. So yesterday when I was standing outside, it occurred to me that maybe I could expand. I'd been trying to control in a way. I'd been trying to find a place of comfort with the energies that were surging because they were going on and on. When we have a thing, it's a day or two or three. and then everything settles back down again. But this is ongoing. It's been ongoing, and it's going to be ongoing for a while. So I was like, how are we going to get through this? This isn't going to stop. It could potentially increase this emotional energy surging around the planet. So I had one of those hey dummy moments. Like, hey dummy, you're used to flowing a garden hose size of energy, but you're being asked to flow a fire hose. You're being asked to flow the big tubular slide at Waterworld diameter energy. And so I recognized that I'd been fighting it. And I'm sharing, a lot of personal stuff here, because if I'm doing, I know somebody else is doing it too. If I'm feeling like I'm being pushed over by waves in the ocean, then I know at least one of you out there is doing the same thing. As soon as I said, okay, I'm willing to expand, I'm willing to receive these energy surges, these emotional waves. Human design, emotionally defined people might be better at this, I don't know. But these huge emotional waves. I said to Team Invisible, I'm ready. I'm okay. Yes, please help me expand to receive more. The big tube at Waterworld size of energy. If you think I can handle it, I'm willing to give it a shot. And immediately my discomfort went down. My sister gave me a forest Reiki treatment in the afternoon yesterday, and I slept like 4 hours hard. Got up, did a couple things, went back to bed, got up this morning and felt fine. Felt better than fine, felt great. I got a week's worth of tasks done in one day. I couldn't get anything done last week or earlier in the week. And today it was just like, check, done, check, done, check, done. And I could feel the energy still there. But what I could feel most was that my resistance was gone, is gone. I expect it will stay gone. Usually once we make that decision and we go ahead and pop up to the next level, it's a permanent thing. But it took me so many days to be in enough pain to go, okay, what do I need to do? Like, this isn't abating. This isn't lessening. It's getting stronger because now it's closer to home. What do I do? So, and really all I did was say I'm willing. I am willing to expand my capacity to allow strong energy to flow through me to a greater degree than I've ever done before. It would be like standing in an ocean wave, but being a screen or invisible. Just a force field there that the water can flow through. It can come up, crash all over you. But because you're not resistant to it, it can just flow on through. Now, I know some people are not at the stage yet, or the place yet. Stage makes it sound like it's a hierarchy. It's not. Not at the place yet of being comfortable flowing energy through. And I've been doing that for several years. Once I figured out that I was no longer going to teach people how to shield, I was going to teach them how to flow around, let energy flow around, or step into a state of oneness and merge with it, or let it flow through. Either. I like the oneness, and I like this new state of allowing this, gigantic stream of surge to flow through. It was a little bit like, well, of course. But here's the thing, your system can't unlevel unless you agree to it. Your higher self, God, your Team Invisible, whatever you call it, is not going to force you to upgrade or to expand. Expansion's probably a better word. Upgrade, again, makes it sound like it's a hierarchy. And we are leaving the world of hierarchy, let me tell you. we are moving into what a lot of us have been teaching for several years, and that is stepping into the feminine way of creation, which is not feminine in the sense you have to be a woman to do it. It's trusting that your body knows. This is why I love human design. It gets you in the body. Getting in the body will move you to the right place at the right time. Couple of really seemingly insignificant examples that now make sense to me. About 10 days or so before this got really intense, I started craving limes. I don't buy limes unless I'm cooking something specific that needs a lime in it. But I started buying limes at the grocery store, and then I was at Costco and I bought a big bag of limes. And I didn't think anything of it because that's how I eat. If my body's asking for limes, then the limes is what we get. And the other thing was blueberries. So I was eating like 3 or 4 limes a day for 10 days or so. I had 2 today, 2 limes. Now it's like I'm losing my interest in limes. But it's interesting to me that my body was eating such strong immune boosting foods, blueberries and limes. I was eating like a huge bowl of blueberries every day. And now it's like, oh, I think I was boosting my immune system so I could get through a week of total flat out struggle and not get sick with something. I could get sick with anything. That's feminine creation. When you trust your body, when you follow the breadcrumb trail of energy signs and signals, when you trust that if it catches your interest, there's a reason you see it. There's a reason you just heard that thing that did a ding, ding, ding in your system. There's a reason you looked at that person at that time, or you have now heard about a book 4 times in 2 days. Those are important things to pay attention to. And if you're creating in that feminine flow, you're flowing from a book to a concept, to a person, to a group coaching call, which is so lovely because so Steph Lagana is who I'm doing the business part of my coaching in. And I had my headset on because I had a client before, and I had a client and, I had to leave early. So I had my nerdy headset on, the one I'm wearing right now, because it makes better sound when I give people a recording of their human design session. So she said I look like the cyborg because I was backlit and I had my glasses on. I had this nerdy thing. I look, Picard. Thank God I have hair though. But I have my like Picard look going. And I said resistance is futile. Of course, you can't mention the cyborg and not the cyborg. That's a different show. Did I say cyborg earlier? That's Battlestar Galactica, I think. I don't even remember. I'm getting them all mixed up. The Borg. So you can't mention the Borg without saying resistance is futile, ha ha ha. But it was after I got off the phone, I was like, oh, I get it. I'm not used to this level, I don't think I have the capacity to receive this flowing energy through me without resistance to it. But that's exactly what it was about. I was resisting the change, the difference, the new level of fast-flowing, huge energy is not something I've experienced before for this many days in a row. And knowing it's going to continue. It's not going to drop off. So if you're an empath, you're going to be pretty miserable unless you are willing to expand your capacity to receive all this energy that's flowing, surging, racing around the world. Even if it could drop off, we would keep stirring it up, with the way we like to chew on stuff, which is our normal humanness. So that brings me back. So first of all, play with that, ask your guide, sit in meditation and ask, do I need to increase my capacity to be comfortable with these huge amounts of energy? Is that what's going on here? Am I resistant? Am I afraid of these levels of energy? See what occurs to you. And the second thing is the toxic positivity. I'm sure I've ranted on this before, but I'll say it again. We have our human perspective. We're on a continuum. We have our human perspective that does not want to die, that does not want to run out of toilet paper, that does not want to get a lung disease, and certainly does not want any of our family to get it. We don't want to lose our jobs. We don't want to see our kids and our family members losing their jobs. None of this is fun. This is all terrifying. That is normal. That is a normal human reaction to a very real threat to your personal and tribal community survival, your family unit, your community unit. That is very real, and it needs to be met with compassionate validation, not the longer term, big picture, I'm a human species, I'm a spiritual being having a human experience viewpoint. Some people go straight to that viewpoint because they don't want to feel the fear. Some people don't need to feel the fear. They're able to maintain that big picture. This is happening. It's all, there's good things that are going to come out of it, blah, blah, blah. We know that. From that perspective, we know that ultimately this is what has to happen for us to survive and thrive, for our planet to stay intact, for us to have a big fucking come to Jesus awakening. Okay, we know that. But when you talk to people from that perspective, and they're at the perspective of I'm a human and I could die and my family could die and my children now don't have jobs and all the things, that is cruel. It's insensitive. It's mean. I was seeing so much meanness of making fun of people who are afraid, of laughing at them and eye rolling and telling them, oh, calm down. This is the shift. This is what we've been waiting for. This is our evolutionary, party. Be happy. It's going to be great. Well, it's not fucking great right now. And you cannot, well, you can, because people were doing it. In my opinion, in my worldview, meet people where they are. I'm not perfect at it. I fuck it up. But I try really hard to meet people where they are. And if they can't hear me when I'm describing something or trying to coach them to a new perspective and they just can't get it, then God bless their hearts. And I love them and I'll drop it. Maybe it'll be revisited in a few years. I don't know. The point is, they're not there yet. When a person is afraid, their amygdala, their brain is in control. Their root chakra is blowing out. Their amygdala is going crazy. Their primal brain is losing its shit. And to say, oh, this is fine, it's our evolution, just think positive, you get to, wrong timing. No, there's a time for that, and it's after the immediate reaction of a normal human animal. You don't go to a screaming toddler and try to explain to them that if they'll stop crying, they'll see that you're trying to hand them what they want. You can't get through because their primitive brain is running the show. And to try to force it is mean. Ooh, it's so mean. Teetering on the edge of cruelty to laugh at people who are afraid because they can't help it. They can't help it. So check yourself before you wreck yourself or someone else. That's mean. It's a mean thing to do. I couldn't believe it. That's toxic positivity. That's saying to someone who's crying, shut the fuck up. To someone who's scared, oh, knock it off, you big baby, you big whiner. Knock it off. Quit it. You're ruining my positivity buzz. Ugh, come on now. Wait. I know I'm getting a little ranty here, so if this is bothering you, just turn the thing off. You're the one in control. But you know what I mean? Like, I saw it happening a lot, and I saw it happening in a lot of places, and I saw it coming from people who ought to know better. And I was like, wait a minute. Where's your compassion? You know that there's a continuum of perception here. Why did you lose your compassion for the people who are really in the muck of the fear? And I was teetering in the fear and out, in the fear and out, back and forth. Spiritual perspective, Team Invisible's perspective, and then, holy shit, I got to eat all the snacks. We have to stay compassionate with where people are. If you're going to be someone who works with people, if you're going to be a leader who's putting content out in the world, please meet people where they're at and never, ever shame someone for feeling weak, for feeling afraid and vulnerable. Typically, that's coming from people who can't handle their own fear. They don't want to feel weak. They don't want to look, dramatic or like a pansy ass. Well, that's your shit and go deal with it. Don't take it out on other people who are afraid. Later, when it's over, when we're approaching our new normal, then we can look back like we have at all points in history and said, wow, things got so bad that something so bad happened. Not had to happen, natural consequences. Something so bad happened that it changed the trajectory of our species and our planet. That comes much later down the road. Now, if you're working with people who are practicing shifting along the continuum of consciousness, you can drop some gentle reminders, but you can validate, right? I know this is so scary. I know. I'm scared too. I don't want any of this to be happening right now. Who would? I know that eventually we're going to come out of this. And also, I know that you're really terrified right now. And I love you and I'm here for you. Later, you can talk about the big picture view. This happens in relationships all the time. We don't want to validate. Sometimes we're afraid if we validate someone's fear that then we're going to contribute to it, or then we're going to get sucked in and drown, or we're going to create something terrible because we acknowledge that things are fucking terrible, that our lives are upended, and it's okay to feel bad about that. And feeling bad about it doesn't mean you're creating more of it. Chronically, yeah. If you stay in it forever, yeah. But most people don't stay in it. When you criticize them, they stay there longer. You've got to validate first. Parents and teenagers butt heads constantly because parents are afraid to validate children's desires for freedom. They're afraid if they validate all the things that the teenager's going through, that then the teenager will go and do all the things. Newsflash, they're going to do what they're going to do anyway. Maybe you should validate their fears so they feel understood and seen. So they know that they're good people, that they're going through some stuff, but it doesn't have to define them long term. When you tell yourself the truth, when you face the reality of what is, you are not making more. That's magical thinking. That's childlike thinking. And it's very, very human. If I let myself feel the fear, then I'm going to get the disease, or my grandma's going to get it, or I'm going to lose my job if I let myself face the fear that I might lose my job. It's the exact opposite. Telling yourself the truth about the fear stops the resistance to the fear, and it can flow on through. Imagine stepping into a river and trying to push back against the river. You're going to get knocked over, yo. The river's going to have its way. Emotional energy will have its way, and you can fight it and get exhausted and drop your immune system and end up sick. Or you can relax into it, face your fear, and float. Tell yourself the truth. I'm scared. I'm mad. I'm afraid if I say I'm scared and I'm mad that I'm going to create more scared and mad. That's a yes and a no. But I promise you, after decades of watching people do this, if you validate first, you drop resistance. You can name the truth of it, and you can regain your footing. And you can say, okay, yep, it's pretty terrible right now. Now, what resources do I have? What resources do I need? Who can I serve? Now that I've got myself out of the cesspool of fear by telling myself the truth and letting myself have my fear, now who can I turn around and reach a hand back to help them? You know how you help them? You love them. You be present with them. You validate them. Their resistance drops. The energies can flow on through, and they can reach a hand back to the next person who's freaking out. Validate, validate, validate first. It doesn't matter if you know that the fear isn't real. It doesn't matter that you know that your teenager's first heartbreak is actually not the end of the world. You know that yourself. You're a grown-up. But when you were a kid, you didn't know it. Now that if you're on the other side of the fear, you know that people's fear doesn't need air quotes to be as big as it is, that it is being stirred up by outside forces. And the truth is, they're that scared. Validate. I know you're so scared that you can't even think straight. I know you feel like you are never going to be loved again because you just had your first heartbreak. I know it. And I'm here for you. Don't try to change it. Validate it. Let the energy drop. Then see where it goes. Only then. We're so much better off just saying, I'm here. I'm breathing with you. I know that you're experiencing some strong emotions, and I don't judge you for that. I'm here for you. I'm loving you. Do you see? When you offer that to others, you offer it to yourself, and then you can expand your own capacity. You can say, oh, am I pushing back on their fear because I need to grow my capacity to expand into fear? To feel my own fear? Is that what's happening? Am I so exhausted because I'm resisting this now energy level that's gone from a 2 on the dial to a 10 plus, and I don't know what this is? I've never been here before. I don't know what to do with all this energy coming at me. Oh, let me take a deep breath and play with resistance is futile. Oh, right. Resistance is futile. Let me validate myself for a week's worth of struggle. Let me feel my anger toward myself and others. Let me feel the fear of the world. Let me feel the anger of the world. Let me feel the betrayal that a lot of people are feeling. Let me feel the age-old fear of the rich people getting the services and the poor people dying, not able to get tests, not able to get treatment. Let me feel that whole tangle rushing through me, and oh, then all of a sudden, oh, okay. Now I can handle 10 plus levels of energy flow. Cool. What can I do now to serve the rest of the people that are still in resistance? Well, I can do a podcast. I can share my experience. I can do my little rant and get on my high horse about stuff. I can share it, and whoever hears it, they'll hear it or they won't. This is my verbal reaching my hand back to anyone who's ready to go, oh, I need to open my capacity to receive energy and to be able to validate everyone's experience, regardless of what it is. Not trying to change them, not trying to convince their amygdala to settle down with an explanation of logic, which never works. So if you're in that position, validate yourself. Ask what you need to do to expand your ability to sense and experience all this strong-ass energy. Relax and float. And then ask what's next. So that's what I got for you. That's all I have for you right now. If I get any other things, I will, of course, jump on here and send them to you. If you need help, if you want to get digging into your human design, which helps enormously with these processes, it truly is a treasure map, a blueprint, whatever you want to call it. It truly is wackadoodle on the surface, but it's making an enormous difference in how we get through life. When you understand it and apply it, this stuff goes a lot faster, this whole life thing. Let me know what you need. The last thing I'll leave you with is today I released my animal avatar journey. It is only $49. It's an embodiment practice. It's a way to get into your body and start to open those lines of communication. Your body knows exactly how to survive all of this. And if you're not ready to do the human design thing, jump in on the animal avatar journey. It's only $49. It's digital downloads. After you pay the payment, you're supposed to get an email that has a link where you can get everything. There's also my Campfire Council meditation in there for you. So get that and get started talking to your body. Get started settling and getting grounded and acknowledging and validating yourself so that you can acknowledge and validate others. That's on the website, thatmichellewolf.com/animal avatar. I put it on the menus today, so it's right there at the top. If there's any problems, you don't get your email or whatever, just send me a message. I'll fix it. thatmichellewolf@gmail.com or info@thatmichellewolf.com. In the meantime, I love you so much. So much. Think less, feel more. I'm going to start crying now. Y'all got me all mushy and shit. Think less, feel more. Talk to you later.